Muhammad 40 Introductions by Michael Muhammad Knight. Now, it's based on a tradition of passing on 40 narrations to the Islamic community, preserving them somehow. And we can look at how these relate to the Quran, which says that we're supposed to confirm science. We could apply a science to the strength of the narration chain and the credibility of the people involved. But when it comes to mythology, the most important thing is the method, the principle of life that it brings out. And books like this that don't go through a list of narrations, where the narration's from, and translate it, refer to a person's life story. Now, some of these examples weren't really necessary for the various, for Muhammad, much in the way that it wasn't necessary for other exemplar prophets to give some of the teachings and examples that they did in terms of any one particular person, but for the community, they were supposed to provide the guidance for the age that would be passed on for every nationality that heard of them, every heredity that heard of them, that, male, female, whatever your job in life, this was what this stuff was about. And some of it could have to do with food and cleanliness. Some of it can do with disagreements, which sometimes multiple people can be right because of different psychological or material culture factors. Sometimes people try to look at Muhammad and other figures in terms of their own personal taste or some popular conception, which really isn't quite what was going on. Now, we're not saying that whether or not one thing or another is legal in your area. We certainly can't compare his role as a husband or anything else in terms of some random statute law somewhere that, disagrees with that's how you run a country. Like, in my country, we're not a democracy. We've never been a democracy. But Muhammad was chosen by a community that, by and large, did not accept him as a prophet. Eventually that changed because, as some of the examples we see, he was a tolerant individual. He connected people to the unseen and that otherwise which they didn't know by that which they knew. He taught people how to have an experience of their spirituality. He taught people about importance of, is it more important to go and fight and die in battle? Well, that can be even required at some times, to defend yourself and defend others, but there's a lifelong struggle to implement what you should be doing. Some people would say it would, based on some narrations, accuse of certain desires, but Islam is not about criticizing people for their mere desires. It's trying to uplift people towards what should be believed, what is best to be believed and what is best to do in certain circumstances. And there's, by what you don't know, the connection to other nations. He wasn't some know-it-all that said, oh, well, if it's not for me, reject it. And no, he asked people to consider things. He taught people to learn and understand themselves